tricks in my pockets, and I have things up my sleeve. But I am the opposite of a stage magician. He gives you illusion with the appearance of truth. I give you truth, the pleasant disguise of illusion. I take you back to St. Louis. Now, St. Louis. That quaint period, large middle class of America was matriculated from a school for the blind. Their eyes had failed them, or they had failed their eyes, and so they were having their fingers pressed forcibly down on a fiery braille alphabet of a dissolving economy. In Spain, there was revolution. Here, there was only shouting, confusion, labor disturbances, sometimes violent in otherwise peaceful cities such as Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit. This is the social background for the play. The play is memory. Being a memory play, it is dimly lighted. It is sentimental. It is not realistic. In memory, everything always seems to happen to music. And I will explain the fiddle and the wings. I'm the narrator for the play, and I'm also a character in the play. The other characters are my mother Amanda, my sister Laura, and a gentleman caller who appears in the final scenes. He is the most realistic character, being an emissary sent from a world we were somehow set apart from, but having a poet's weakness for symbols, I'm using this character too as a symbol, as the long-delayed but always expected something that you live for. There is a fifth character who doesn't appear other than a photograph hanging on the wall. When you see the picture of this thrilling gentleman, please remember, this was our father, and he left us a long time ago. He was a telephone man who fell in love with long distance. So he gave up his job at the telephone company and skipped the life fantastic out of town. Last we heard from him was a picture postcard from the Pacific coast of Mexico, containing a message of 2 words: hello, goodbye, and no return address.
You know, Laura, I had the funniest experience in church last Sunday. The church was very crowded, except for one pew way down front. And in that was just one little lady. And so I smiled at her very sweetly, and I said, "Excuse me, do you mind if I share this pew?" And she said, "Well, I certainly do. This space is rented." Well, that is the first time that I ever knew that the Lord rented space. These Northern Episcopalians. Southern Episcopalians I can understand, but these Northern ones, no. Honey, push your food with your fingers. If you must push your food, a crust of bread is the thing to use. And you must chew your food. Animals have secretions in their stomachs which allow them to digest their food without mastication. But human beings must chew their food before they swallow it down. But chew. Oh, chew. Eat leisurely. Eat leisurely. A well-prepared meal must be held in the mouth to be appreciated, not just gobbled down. Oh, chew. 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 Don't you want to give your salivary glands a chance to function?
Mother, I haven't enjoyed one bite of this meal because of your constant instruction on how to eat it. It's you that makes me hurry through my meals with your hawk-like attention to every bite I take. It's disgusting. Secretions, salivary glands, mastication. Ugh.
Temperament like a metropolitan star. You have not been excused from this table.
We're having a cigarette.
You smoke too much.
Mother, I'll bring in the coffee.
No, you sit down. I'll be the colored boy today, and you're going to be the lady.
I mean, I'm already up.
Well, resume your seat. Resume your seat. It's almost sunrise. Gentlemen callers to start arriving.
I'm not expecting any gentlemen calls today.
Well, that's the nice thing about them. They come when they're least expected. Why, I remember one Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain when I was a girl.
I know what's coming now.
Yes, but let her tell it.
Again?
She loves to tell it.
I remember one Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain when your mother was a girl. She received 17 gentlemen callers. Why, sometimes there wasn't enough chairs to accommodate them all, and we had to send a colored boy over to the parish house to fetch some folding chairs.
How did you entertain all these gentlemen callers?
Well, I happened to understand their conversation.
I bet you could talk.
Well, I could. All the girls in my day could, I tell you.
Yes?
Well, it wasn't enough for a girl to just have a pretty face or be possessed of a graceful figure. Although I wasn't slighted in either respect. She also had to have a nimble wit and a tongue to suit all occasions.
What did you talk about?
Why, we talked about things of importance going on in the world. Never anything common or coarse or vulgar. My callers were gentlemen. All. Some of the most prominent men on the Mississippi Delta. Why, they were planters and sons of planters. This young champ Lawton. He went on to become vice president of the Planters Bank in the Delta. There was Anthony Stevenson. He was drowned in the lake. But he certainly left his widow well provided for. $150,000 in government bonds, I tell you. They were the Couture brothers. Wesley and Bates. Bates. He was one of my own right particular brothers. He got into a terrible quarrel with that awful Wainwright boy and shot it out on the floor of the Moonlight Casino. Bates was shot straight through the stomach and died in the ambulance on the way to Memphis. He left his widow well provided for, too. 8 of 10,000 acres, no less. He never loved her. She only caught him on the weekend. My photo was found on him the night he died. Oh, and then there was that boy that every girl in the Delta was setting her cap for. That bright, beautiful Fitzhugh boy from Green County.
What did he leave his widow?
Well, he never married. Well, what's the matter with you? You act as though all my old callers were turning their toes up to the daisies.
Is this the first you mentioned that still survives?
He made an awful lot of money. He went north to Wall Street and made a fortune. He had a Midas touch. Everything he touched just turned to gold. And I could have been Mrs. J. Duncan. But what did I do instead? I just went out of my way and picked your father.
Mother, I'll clear the table.
Oh, no. You have to stay fresh and pretty, so you just study your timing charts or practice your shorthand. Yes, it's almost time for our gentlemen calls to start arriving. How many do you think will entertain this afternoon?
I don't think we're having any, Mother.
Not any. Not one. Not one gentleman called. Why, you must be joking. What's the matter? Has there been a flood or a tornado or something?
It's not a flood. It's not a tornado, Mother. I'm just not popular like you were in Blue Mountain.
Mother's afraid I'm going to be an old maid. Your typing, I suppose.
Yes.
Deception. Deception, deception, deception.
How was the DAR meeting, Mother?
DAR meeting?
Didn't you go to the DAR meeting?
No. I didn't go to any DAR meeting. I didn't have the strength. I didn't have the courage. I just wanted to find myself a hole in the ground and crawl into it and stay there for the rest of my entire life.
How did you do that, Mother?
Why? Why? How old are you, Laura?
Oh, Mother, you know my age.
I thought you were an adult. evidently I was very much mistaken.
Please don't stare at me, Mother.
What are you thinking? What is to become of us? What is the future?
Has something happened, Mother? Mother, has something happened?
I'll be all right with it. Mother, I'm just bewildered by life.
I wish you would tell me what's happened.
I went to the DA office this afternoon. As you know, I was supposed to be inducted as an officer. On my way, I stopped off at Rubicam's Business College to tell them about your cold and to inquire as to your progress down there. Oh, yes. Oh, I walked right up to your business instructor and I introduced myself. Wingfield, she said. Why, we have no such scholar in this school. And I said, well, yes, you do. My daughter Laura's been coming here every day since January. And she said, well, excuse me, I don't know, unless it's that terribly shy girl who dropped out after only a very few days. And I said, well, no, I don't mean her. I mean my daughter Laura, who's been coming here every day since the beginning of January. And she said, well, excuse me. And she took down the attendance board. And there was your name, written, unmistakable, and right next to it were all the days that you had been absent. Well, I still told her that she was wrong, that it was a mistake, it had to be some sort of mix-up in the records. And she said, oh no, I remember her quite clearly now. She was so shy, and her hands trembled so badly that her fingers couldn't touch the right keys. We gave a speed test, and she just broke down completely. She was sick at the stomach and had to be carried to the washroom. And she never came back after that. We called every single day, and no one ever answered. That must have been that week that I was working all day long at that department store demonstrating those women's. I was so weak. I had to sit down while they brought me a glass of water. $50 tuition. I don't care so much about the money. But all my plans for your future just gone up the spout, just like that. Oh, Laura, don't play that controller. Oh. What have you been doing all day long when you've been telling me you've been going to the business college?
I've just been going out walking.
Oh, it's not true.
Yes, it is, Mother. I just went walking.
Walking anywhere. In that lab coat deliberately caught pneumonia. Where did you walk to, Laura?
All sorts of places. Mostly the park.
Even after you started catching that cold.
It was the lesser of two evils, Mother. I couldn't go back there. I'd thrown up on the floor.
From after 7 in the morning till after 5 every afternoon, you mean to tell me that you just walked around in the park because you want me to think that you were still going to Rubicam's Business College?
It's not as bad as it sounds, Mother. I went inside places and to get warmed up.
Inside where?
Well, I went to the art museum, and I went to the bird houses. I visited the penguins every day at the zoo. Sometimes I did without lunch, and I went to the movies. Lately, I've been spending most of my afternoons at the Jewel Box. You know, that big glass house where they raise the tropical flowers?
You did all this just to deceive me. Just for deception. Why? 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 Why?
Oh, Mother, when you're disappointed, you get that awful suffering look on your face like a picture of Jesus' mother at the museum.
Hush.
I couldn't face it. I couldn't.
So what are we supposed to do now, honey? Just sit in this house all day long, watch the parades go by, amuse ourselves with the glass menagerie, endlessly play those worn-out phonograph records that your father left us as a cruel reminder of him. Can't have a business career. Oh no, that just gives us indigestion. What is still left for us but dependency all our lives? I tell you, Laura, I know so well what happens to unmarried women who aren't prepared to accept some position in life. I've seen so many pitiful cases in the South. They're the tolerated spinsters living off some brother's wife or sister's husband, tucked away in some little mousetrap of a room, encouraged by one in-law to go visit the next in-law. Tiny bird-like women with no nest, eating the crust of humility all their lives. Is that the future we mapped out for ourselves? I tell you, honey, I don't see any other alternative. And I don't think that's very pleasant alternative. My goodness, Lord. Some girls do get married. Haven't you ever liked some boy?
Yes. I liked one once.
You did?
Yes. I ran across this picture a little while ago.
Well, he gave you his picture too?
No, it's in here in the yearbook.
From high school.
Yes. His name was Jim, Mother. Here he is. Here he is in the Pirates of Penzance. It's the operette the senior class put on. Oh, he had the most beautiful voice. We sat across the aisle from each other Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays in the auditorium. Oh, and here he is, winning the silver cup for debating. You see his grin?
So, he had a grin too.
He used to call me Blue Roses.
You call me the silly name like that?
When I was out sick with that attack of the blue roses, when I came back, he asked me what was the matter, and I said I had blue roses, but he thought I said blue roses. So that's what he'd always call me after that. He'd see me and he'd holler, "Hello, blue roses!" I never cared very much for that girl he went with, Emily Nisenback. Emily was the best dressed girl at Solan, but she never struck me as being sincere. I read in the newspaper that they were engaged. Of course, that's a long time ago. They're probably married by now.
It's all right. It doesn't matter. Sometimes the girls who aren't cut out for a business career do end up married to nice young men. And I'm just going to see to it that you do too.
Mother,
What?
I am crippled.
Say that word. How many times have I told you never to say that word? You are not crippled. You just have a slight disadvantage. If you'd grown up at the time when I did, and you girls wore those long skirts that swept the floor, well, it might have been seen as an asset. When you have a disadvantage like that, you just have to cultivate something to take its place. Like charm, or vivacity, or charm. Anything your father had plenty of. Charm.
After the fiasco at Rubicam's Business College, the idea of getting a gentleman caller from my sister Laura began to play a more and more important role in my mother's calculations. Became an obsession. Like the archetype of the universal unconscious, the gentleman caller haunted our small apartment. An evening at home rarely passed without some allusion to this image, this specter, this hope. And even when he wasn't mentioned, his presence hung, my mother's preoccupied look and my sister's frightened, apologetic manner. Hung like a sentence passed over the wing fields. But my mother was a woman of action as well as words. She began to take logical steps in the planned direction. Later that winter and in the early spring, realizing that extra funds would be necessary to properly feather the nest and plume the bird, she began a vigorous campaign on the telephone, roping in subscribers to one of those magazines for matrons called the Homemaker's Companion. A type of journal that featured the serialized sublimation of ladies of letters who thought in terms of delicate cup-like breasts, rich, creamy thighs, slim, tapering waists, eyes like wood smoke and autumn, fingers that soothed like soft strains of music, and bodies as powerful as Etruscan sculpture.
Christian martyr. Well, if that's what you are just a Christian martyr. Oh, well, I was calling because I was going through my little red book, and I saw that your subscription to the companion was just about to run out, right when that wonderful new serial about Bessie Mae Harper was about to start. Well, it's the first thing she's written since Honeymoon for Three. That was unusual, wasn't it? Well, this one is even lovelier. It's all about the horse he set on Long Island, and this debutante who is taking a horse over the jumps at the regatta. Yes, and she's thrown from a horse and she injures her spine. What? Well, the horse steps on her. That's what he does. The horse steps on her. Well, and there is only one surgeon in the entire world who is capable of keeping her from being completely paralyzed, and that's the man she's engaged to be married to. And he's tall, and he's blonde, and he's handsome, and what? Oh, well, yes, that's unusual too. Oh, no, he is not perfect. Oh, yes, he has weaknesses. Of course he has weaknesses. Well, he just has the most terrible weakness in the entire world. He just drinks too much. What? Oh, no, honey, don't let those burn. You go take a look in the oven, and I'll hold on. But do you know what that woman did? She hung up on me.
Mother, please, Tom is trying to ride.
He's oh, so he did. So he did.
What are you up to now, Mother?
Well, I'm just trying to protect your eyes. You only have one pair of eyes, and you have to take care of them. Well, I know, Milton was blind, but that is not what made him a genius.
Mother, please go away. Let me finish writing.
I wish you'd sit up straight so that your shoulder blades don't poke out like sparrows' wings.
Mother, please go busy yourself with something else. I'm trying to write.
Now, I have seen the medical chart, and I know what sitting in that position does to your internal organs. And if you would just sit up, I could show you. Your stomach presses against your lungs, and your lungs press against your heart, and your poor little heart just...
How the hell am I supposed to get anything done in this house?
Don't you talk to me like that! What is the matter with you? Have you lost your senses?
Yes, you have driven me right out of them.
What's the matter with you, lady? You big idiot!
You know, that's not a thing. Not a single thing in this house that I can call my own.
Lower your voice!
Yesterday, you confiscated my books. You had the nerve to take away my books.
Yes, I did. I took that horrible novel back to the library, that book by that insane Mr. Lawrence. I cannot stop people from writing that sort of filth or control the people who cater to it. But I will not have such filth in my house. No.
House! Who pays the rent on this house? Who makes himself a slave to this house?
You dare talk to me like that.
No, I must say, I must be quiet and let you do all the talking.
Now you listen to me.
Well, I don't want to hear it.
Well, you will listen to me.
Well, I'm not going to listen. I'm going out.
Tom Wingfield, you're gonna listen to me. I am tired of your impudence. And another thing, I'm at the end of my patience.
What do you think I'm at the end of, Mother? Haven't I got any patience to reach the end of? I know, it's unimportant to you what I'm doing, trying to do, has a difference between them. You don't think that, do you?
I think that you are doing things that you're ashamed of, and that's why you act this way. I don't believe that you go to the movies every night. Nobody goes to the movie night after night. Nobody in their right mind goes to the movies as often as you say that you do. People don't go to the movies at midnight, and they don't let out at 2 a.m. You come home stumbling and mumbling like a maniac. You get 3 hours sleep, and then you go to work. Oh, I can just picture how you're doing down there, moping and doping because you are in no condition.
That is true. That is very, very true. I am in no condition.
How dare you jeopardize your job? Jeopardize our security? How do you think we would manage?
Mother, do you think I'm crazy about the warehouse? You think I am in love with the Continental Shoemakers? You think I want to spend 55 years of my life down there with that Celotex interior with fluorescent tubes? Honest to God, brother, I wish someone would pick up a crowbar and batter out my brains and go back mornings, but I go. Sure, every time you come in screaming your bloody rise and shine, I think how lucky dead people are. But I get up, I go. $65 a month. I give up everything I ever hoped to be in and do it ever. And you say that is all I think of. My mother itself is all I thought of. I would be where he is. Go as far as the system of transportation can take me. Please do not grab at me, mother.
I am not grabbing at you. I want to know where you are going now.
I am going to the movies.
I don't believe that lie.
No. No. Well, you're right. I'm not going to the movies. I am going to opium dens. Yes, mother. Opium dens! Dens of vice and criminals' hangouts. I joined the opium den. I carry a Tommy gun in a violin case. I run a string of cat houses in the alley. I am a hired assassin. They call me Killer Wingfield. By day, I am a simple, honest warehouse worker, but at night, I am a dynamic czar of the underworld. Why spend away fortunes on the roulette table? I wear a patch over one eye and a false mustache. Sometimes I wear green whiskers. Oh, on those occasions, they call me El Diablo. Oh, I can tell you things that will make you sleepless. My enemies plan to dynamite this place one night. Oh, they plan to blow us all sky high. I'd be happy. I'd be glad. Oh, so you? Because you go up over Blue Mountain on a broomstick with 17 gentlemen callers. You ugly, battered witch.
I'll never speak to you again as long as you live, until you apologize to me.
One crack and it falls through.
Tom, what are you doing?
I'm looking for the dog key.
Where have you been all this time?
I have been to the movies.
All this time at the movies?
It was a very long program. They had a travelogue and a gargle picture and a Mickey Mouse and a newsreel and a preview of coming attractions. And there was an organ solo and a collection from Milk Fund simultaneously. I mean, at the same time. And it resulted in a terrible fight between a fat lady and an usher.
Oh, well, did you have to stay for the whole thing?
Of course. Oh, and there was a big stage show. Oh, the headliner was Malvolio the Magician. He performed wonderful tricks, many of which pour a wine back and forth between pictures. At first it was wine, then it was beer, and then it was whiskey. I know it was whiskey that it turned into because he needed a volunteer to come up. And I came up both shows. You're talking straight bourbon. Woo! He was a very generous fellow. He gave souvenirs. It's a magic scarf. You can have it, Laura. You wave it over a canary cage and it turns into a bowl of goldfish. Wave it over a bowl of goldfish. Oh, then it turned into canaries and fly away. But the wonderfully strict ball was the coffin trick. We nailed him into a coffin, and he got out of it without removing a single leg. Now that is a trick that would come in handy. Get me out of this 2x4 situation.
Tom, now, shh.
What are you shushing for?
You're gonna wake Mother.
Oh, goody goody, get it back for all those rise and shines. Oh, you know, Laura, it don't take much intelligence to get yourself locked into a coffin. Whoever got herself out of one without removing a single nail? Right?
Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Laura, go tell your brother to rise and shine.
I'll rise, but I won't shine.
Laura, tell your brother his coffee's ready.
Tom. Tom. Tom, it's nearly 7. Don't make Mother nervous. Tom, speak to Mother this morning, huh? Make up with her? Apologize? Speak to her.
Speak to her. She's the one that started not speaking.
You just say you're sorry, she'll stop speaking.
Her not speaking. That's such a tragedy.
Please, please.
Laura, are you going to go do what I asked you to do, or do I have to get dressed and go out myself?
Going just as soon as I get on my coat. Now, butter and what else?
Just butter. You tell them to charge it.
Oh, Mother, they make such faces when I say that.
Sticks and stones may break our bones, but the look on his involved people's face won't harm us. Tell your brother his coffee's getting cold.
Tom, do what I ask, will you? Will you, Tom?
Laura, go now, or just don't go at all.
I'm going. Oh,
Laura!
I'm all right. I slipped. I just slipped, but I'm all right. I'm all right. What? I'm all right. All right, Mother.
One of these days, somebody's gonna fall down these fire escape steps and break a leg, and they're gonna sue that landlord for every cent he's... Who are you?
apologize. I am sorry, Mother, for all those things I said. I did not mean them. I apologize.
My devotionists make me a witch. And so I make myself hateful to my children.
No, you don't, Mother.
I worry so much. I can't sleep. It makes me nervous.
I know that, Mother.
I've been to a solitary battle for so long. You are my right-hand power. Don't fall down now. Please don't fail me.
I tried, Mother.
It's all right. Just keep trying. You're bound to succeed. You have so many natural endowments. Both my children do. You're both such precious children. Why, I have so much to be thankful for. But you must promise me one thing.
What is it, Mother?
Promise me you won't ever become a drunkard.
I promise I won't become a drunkard, Mother.
That's what had me so frightened. That you be drinking. Now, go eat a bowl of puree.
No, thank you. Just coffee.
Well, a shredded wheat biscuit.
No, thank you. Just the coffee.
Well, you can't put in a full day's work on an empty stomach. You've got 10 minutes. Oh, go hot liquids. That causes cancer of the stomach. It looks creamy.
No, thank you, Mother.
Well, just to cool it.
Mother, I want it black.
Well, I know that, but it's not good for you. We have to build ourselves up. In these trying times, we're the only thing we have to cling to, and that's why it's so important to... I sent Laura out because I wanted to discuss something with you. If you hadn't spoken to me, I would have spoken to you.
What is it, Mother?
I want to talk about Laura.
Oh, Laura.
You know how she is. She's so quiet, but still waters run deep. I think she notices things and she broods about them. I came in the other day and she'd been crying.
About what?
You.
Me.
Well, she has the idea that you're not happy here.
What gave her that idea?
Oh, what gives her any idea? However, I have been acting strangely lately. Well, I don't mean that as a criticism. I know that you work at the warehouse isn't what you wanted. That like every other person in the world, you've had to make sacrifices, but life's not easy. It calls for sacrifices. We all have to have Spartan endurance. There's so many things in my heart that I just can't describe to you. I've never told you this, but I loved your father.
I know that, Mother.
Well, I see you taking after his ways, staying out late, and well, you had been drinking that night. You came in that terrifying condition. Laura says you leave the apartment and that you go out and you get out of it. Is that true?
No. You say there are so many things in your heart that you can't describe to me. The same's true for me. There's so many things in my heart that I can't describe to you, so let's just respect each other and let it
Tell me
go.
why. Why are you so restless? Where do you go two nights?
I go to the movies.
Why do you go to the movies, Tom?
I go to the movies because I like adventure. Adventure's not something I get a lot of at the warehouse, so I go to the movies.
You go to the movies entirely too much.
I like a lot of adventure.
I'm sorry. You just go to the movies entirely too much adventure. You need to find that adventure in your work. Most men find that adventure in their careers.
Then most young men are not employed in a warehouse, Mother.
The world is full of men employed in warehouses and factories and offices.
And do they find adventure in their careers?
Well, they do or they do without. Not every man has to have a craze for adventure.
Mother, man is by instinct a lover, a fighter, a hunter. And these things don't get much play at the warehouse.
Man is by instinct. Don't quote instinct to me. Instinct is something that people have got away from. It's something for animals. Christian people don't want it.
What do Christian people want then, Mother?
Superior things. Things of the mind, the spirit. Instinct is something for animals. You shouldn't want these things. It's below you. It's like monkeys or pigs.
I guess I'm just a monkey or a pig.
Well, you're joking. Well, that's not what I want to discuss with you right
Mother, I
now.
haven't got time.
Sit down.
You want me to punch in red at the
No,
warehouse?
I want to talk to you about Laura.
All right. What about Laura?
You haven't been making plans and provisions for her. She's older than you, 2 years, and nothing has happened. She just drifts along every day. It frightens me terribly how she just drifts along.
Well, maybe she's the type that people call home girls.
There's no such type. And if there is, it's a pig. That is, the home is her own, with her husband.
What?
I see what's happening. I see the handwriting on the wall. It's as plain as the nose on my face. And it terrifies me. More and more, you act like your father. He started staying out all hours. And then, he was gone. Goodbye. And me, with a bag to hold. I saw that letter you got from the merchant marine. And I know what you're dreaming of. I am not standing here blindfolded. All right, then. Go ahead. Do it. But not until there's somebody here to take your place.
What do you mean?
I mean, you not until Laura has somebody to take care of her. A husband, a home of her own, independent. Until then, you have got to look out for your sister. I don't say me, because I'm old and I don't matter. But I say for your sister because she's young, independent. I tried putting her in business school. It was a dismal failure. It frightened her so much, it made her sick at the stomach. So I took her to the young people in the church. Another fiasco. She spoke to nobody, and nobody spoke to her. So now all she does is spend her days fooling with that pieces of glass and playing that audio phonograph records. What kind of life is that for a girl?
Well, what can I do about it?
Overcome selfishness. Self is all you ever think about. Oh, wait, get your muffler. You ready?
I don't want a muffler.
Well, wait, I haven't said what I want to ask you yet.
Mother, I'm going to be late.
Aren't there some nice young men down at the warehouse?
No.
Well, there must be some nice young men. Find one, some nice, clean-living young man who doesn't do anything, and ask him out for sister.
What?
For sister, to meet, to get acquainted.
Oh my gosh.
What? Will you? Will you, dear? Will you?
Yes! Ugh!
Ellicott, right? It's Amanda Wingfield. Oh, first, let me ask you, how's that kidney trouble of yours? Oh, it's come back. Well, you're just a Christian martyr. That's what you are. You are just a Christian martyr. Well, I was calling because I was going through my red book, and I saw that your subscription to the Companion had run out right when that wonderful new serial by Bessie May Harper was about to start. Well, it's all about the horsey people on Long Island. Well, you already read it. Well, how does it turn out? Oh. Oh, well, Bessie May Harper never lets you down. Well, yes. Well, yes, you have to have complications. Every story has to have complications. Well, I know, but Bessie May Harper always leaves you with such an uplift. Well, Ellen, you sound mad. Oh, 7 o'clock in the morning. Well, I forgot that you don't get up until 9. Not that anybody in the world not to sleep that late anymore. Well, I can't say anything more than I'm sorry now, can I? What? You were going to take that subscription from me anyhow? Oh, Ella, bless you. Bless you, bless you, bless you.
Across the alley was the Paradise Dance Hall. Evenings in spring, they'd open up the doors and windows and let the music come outside. Sometimes they turned out all the lights except for a large glass sphere that hung from the ceiling. It would turn about slowly and fill to the dusk with delicate rainbow colors. Then the orchestra would play something like a tango or a waltz, something with a slow, sensuous rhythm. The young couples would come out to the relative privacy of the alley. You could see them kissing behind telephone poles and ash pits. Yes. This was the compensation for lives that passed like mine, without change or adventure. The change and adventure weren't imminent this year. They were waiting around the corner for all these dancing kids, suspended in the mist over Burchess Garden, caught in the folds of Chamberlain's umbrella. In Spain, there was Guernica. Here there was only hot swing music and liquor. Dance halls, bars, movies, and sex. Sex that hung in the gloom and flooded the world with brief, deceptive rainbows. While these dancing kids were dancing at Dear One, the world was waiting for the sunrise, all the world was really waiting for bombardments.
Tom?
Yes, Mother?
Where are you?
Out on the terrace, smoking.
Smoke too much. Half a day, 15 cents a day. How much would that be in a month? 30 times 15? Not that much. But it would make a nice start on a night school course in accounting at the Washington U. Wouldn't that be lovely?
I'd rather smoke.
I know. That's the tragedy of you. Fire escape landing is a poor excuse for the porch we used to have. What are you looking at?
The moon.
Oh, is there a moon tonight?
Rising over Garfinkel's delicatessen.
Oh, so it is. Lovely little slipper of a moon. Did you make a wish?
Mm-hmm.
What did you wish?
That's the secret.
Well, all right, I won't tell you what I wish for you. I can keep a secret too. I can be just as mysterious as you.
I bet I can guess what you wished for.
Why? Is my head transparent?
You are not a sphinx.
I don't have any secrets. I'll tell you what I wish for. Same thing I wish for every time there's a moon. Success and happiness for my precious children. I wish for that every time there's a moon. And when there's not a moon, I wish for it too.
I thought perhaps you wished for a gentleman caller.
What?
Don't you recall asking me to fetch you one?
Well, I recall mentioning that it might be nice for your sister if you invited some man home from the warehouse. I think I mentioned that once or twice.
You have mentioned it repeatedly.
Well,
Well, we don't have one.
what?
The gentleman caller.
You mean you invited some nice young man to come home?
I asked him home to dinner.
You really did?
I did.
And did he accept?
He did.
He did?
He did.
Oh, how lovely.
I thought you would be pleased.
Oh, it's definite then.
Very definite.
Oh, how soon?
Pretty soon.
Oh, how soon?
Quite soon.
How soon?
Very, very soon.
Every time I want to know something from you, you start going on like that.
All right, what do you want to know?
Well, go ahead and guess. Just go ahead and guess.
All right, I'll guess. You want to know when the gentleman car is coming. He's coming tomorrow.
Tomorrow? I can't do anything about tomorrow.
Why not?
What? There's no time for preparations. No time.
Time for
For
what?
preparations. But you should have called me the moment you asked him. The moment he accepted.
There's no need to make a fuss.
Of course I have to make a fuss. I can't have some man come into a sloppy apartment. Oh my goodness, these things have to be thrown together properly. I've got to do some mighty fast thinking before tomorrow.
I don't see why you have to think at all.
That's because you just don't know. You just don't know at all. My goodness, I can't have a gentleman caller come into an apartment that's a pigsty. Oh my goodness. Now let me see. I still have those little pieces of wedding silver. I can polish those up. And, oh my goodness, the lace tablecloth. Oh, that's held up after all these years. And, oh my goodness, we don't have anything to wear. We have nothing to wear. Well, we can't wear anything. We don't have it.
Mother, this boy is not someone to make a fuss over.
Now, of course I have to make a fuss. This is the first gentleman caller your sister has ever had. I think it's just pathetic that poor child has never had one single gentleman caller. Now come on inside.
What for?
Because I want to ask you some questions.
Mother, if you are going to make a fuss, I will call this boy up and tell him not to come.
No, you can't do that. People hate to have their plans canceled. They don't have anything to do. Now come on inside. Come on inside and sit down.
Anywhere in particular you would like me to sit?
Sit anywhere. Oh, look. What am I going to do about that? Have you ever seen anything look so sad? Let me see. I can get a bright piece of cretonne that won't cost much. And I can make some payments on your floor lamp. And that sent out. And I can put a new cover, bright new cover on this chair. Oh, I wish I had time to paper the walls. What's his name?
His name is O'Connor.
Connor. Irish. Tomorrow's Friday. That means fish. I can make a salmon loaf with a mayonnaise dressing. Oh, where did you meet him?
I met him at the warehouse. Where else would I meet him?
Well, I don't know. That's why I want to know. Does he drink?
Made you ask me that?
Because your father did.
Don't get started on that.
He drinks.
No, not that I know of.
Well, you have to find out. There's nothing I want less for your sister than a man who drinks.
Mother, aren't you getting a little premature? I mean, Mr. O'Connor hasn't even appeared on the scene yet.
Well, he will tomorrow to meet your sister. And you have to find out. What do I know about his character?
What are you up to now, Mother?
I could stand that coward. I know why. It won't lay down by itself.
Mother, I'm going to tell you something, and I mean this right straight, direct from my heart. You do know that there are boys who meet girls and they don't marry.
You know, it always worried me that you never could stay on a subject. What I want to know is, what's his position in the warehouse?
He is a shipping clerk.
Oh, shoot. Well, that's fairly responsible. How much does he earn?
I have no way of knowing that. I judge his salary to be $85 a month.
$85 a month. It's not princely.
That is $20 more a month than I make.
I know. Well, I know that. Well, I know that. No. A family man cannot manage on $85 a month.
Mother, Mr. O'Connor is not a family man.
Well, he might be in the future, mightn't he?
Oh, I see. Plans and provisions.
You are the only young man I know that doesn't seem to understand that the future becomes the present, and the present becomes the past, and the past can turn into everlasting regret if you don't plan for it.
I'll think that over and see what I make of it.
Don't be supercilious with your mother. I want to know more about this Mr. O'Connor, but well, he must have more of a name than just Mr.
His full name is James D. O'Connor. The D stands for Delaney.
Delaney? Irish on both sides, and he doesn't drink?
Do you want to call him up and ask? I'll call him up. Ask, tell him, you want to know if he drinks?
No. You have to be discreet about these things. Now, when I was a girl in Blue Mountain, if it was suspected that a young man was drinking and a girl was receiving his attentions, well, she'd go to the minister of his church, and she would ask about his character. Well, her father would, if her father was still alive, well, then it was his duty to go to the minister and find out about his character. And that's how you kept young girls from making tragic mistakes in Blue Mountain.
How is it you made such a tragic one?
I don't know how he did it. All he had to do was smile, and the whole world was bewitched. I don't think that there's anything more tragic in this world than a young girl trusting herself to the mercy of her handsome parents. And I do hope that Mr. O'Connor is not too good looking.
As a matter of fact, he is not. Got a face full of freckles and a very large nose.
He's not right down homely, is he?
I wouldn't say right down homely. Medium homely, I guess.
Well, if a girl has any sense, she'll look for character in a man anyhow.
That is what I have always said, Mother.
You have always said it.
Mm-hmm.
You have always said it. How can you have always said it when you've never even thought about it?
Oh, don't be so suspicious of me, Mother.
I am. I'm suspicious of every word that comes out of your mouth when you talk to me. But I want to know more about this young man. Is he up and coming?
Yes, I really do think he goes in for self-improvement.
What makes you think so?
He goes to night school.
Well, what does he do here?
He studies radio engineering and public speaking.
Public speaking. Well, that means he intends to be an executive someday. And radio engineering? Well, that's coming, huh?
I think it's here.
These are very illuminating facts. Facts that any mother should want to know about a young man calling on her daughter, seriously or not.
Mother, just one thing. I didn't mention anything about Laura. I didn't let on that we have dark ulterior motives. I just said, do you want to come home to dinner? And he said, fine. And, well, that was the whole conversation.
I just bet that it was. Sometimes you can be as eloquent as an oyster. However, I think that when he comes over and sees how sweet and pretty that child is, he's going to be just very happy that he was invited to supper.
Mother, one more thing. You won't expect too much of Laura, will you?
Well, I don't know what you mean.
Well, she seems all those things to you and me because she's ours and we love her. We don't even notice anymore that she's crippled.
Don't use that word.
Mother, you have to face facts. She is. That's not all.
What do you mean that's not all?
Mother, you know Laura's not like other girls.
Well, I do know that, and I think that that difference is all in her favor.
Not quite all. In the eyes of others, strangers, she's terribly shy. She lives in a world all her own, and these things make her seem a little peculiar to people outside the house.
Use that word,
Mother,
peculiar.
you have to face facts. She is.
I don't know in what way you think she's peculiar.
Mother, Laura lives in a little world of glass animals. She listens to old phonograph records, and that's it.
Laura? Laura?
Yes, Mother?
Come out here. Leave those dishes. Come out here and make a wish on the moon.
Moon?
Moon? Yes, a little tiny silver slipper of a moon. No. No, Laura. Look over your left shoulder. Now, make a wish.
Oh, what shall I wish for, Mother?
Happiness. And just a little bit of good fortune.
And so the following evening, I brought Jim home to dinner. I had known Jim slightly in high school. In high school, Jim was a hero. He had tremendous Irish good nature, vitality, and the scrubbed and polished look of white chinaware. He was always moving in a continual spotlight. He was the star of the basketball team, the captain of the big club, president of the senior class and the glee club, and he sang the male lead in the annual light opera. He was always moving in a continual spotlight and shooting with such velocity through his adolescence, you would just logically expect him to end up nothing short of the White House by the time he was 30. Well, he had run into some interference upon his graduation because at this point in our lives he was working a job that wasn't much better than mine. He was the only one with whom I was on friendly terms with at the warehouse. I was valuable to Jim as someone who could remember his former glory, who had seen him win basketball games and the Silver Cup in debating. And he knew my secret practice of retiring to a cabin in the washroom to work on poems whenever business was slack in the warehouse. He called me Shakespeare. So while the other boys regarded me with suspicious hostility, Jim took a humorous attitude towards me. Eventually his attitude began to wear off on the other boys. They started smiling at me too. Like someone smiles at an oddly fashioned dog that trots across your path at some distance. I had known Jim and Laura had known each other slightly in high school. So I heard Laura speak admiringly of Jim's voice. I did not know that Jim would remember Laura, because in high school Laura was as unobtrusive as Jim was astonished. And if he did remember her, it was not as my sister. For when I asked him on dinner, he said, "You know, funny thing, Shakespeare, I never pictured you having folks." Well, I was about to discover that I did.
Why are you trembling so, honey?
Oh, Mother, you make me so nervous.
Well, now, how could I make you nervous?
Why all of this fuss? You make it seem so important.
Well, now, every time I try to do something just the least little bit different for you, you just seem to set yourself against it. Now, you just take a look at yourself. Oh, wait a minute. A little bit of an improvement.
What is it?
When I was a young girl, we used to have little round lacy things, and we called them gay deceivers.
I won't wear them.
Well, of course you'll wear them.
Well, why should I?
Well, honey,
Oh, make it seem like we were setting a trap.
We all set a trap. All pretty girls are traps, and all men expect them to be traps. Now, take a look at yourself in that glass. See? You look just like an angel on a postcard. Isn't it lovely? Now, you just wait. I'm going to go get myself dressed, and you are going to be astonished at your mother. You know, honey, I found the dress in the trunk. But it was so old, I had to do so much to it. But it just broke my heart when I had to let it out. Now, you just take a look at your mother. Oh. Now, honey, you just take a look at your mother. Oh, mother, how lovely. Well, it used to be. It used to be. It used to have flowers all over it. I think I'm kind of tired, so I had to take them all off. I led the cotillion in this dress years ago. And I won the cakewalk at Sunset Hill twice. And I wore it to the governor's ball in Jazz. You should have seen your mother. You should have seen how she sashayed around the ballroom just like that. And I had it on the day I met your father. I had malaria fever too. The change in climate from East Tennessee to the Delta, well, it lowered my resistance. Not enough to be dangerous, just enough to make me restless, giddy. Oh, it was lovely. Invitations came pouring in. But my mother said, oh, you can't go anywhere. You have a fever and you have to stay in bed. And I said, no, I won't. And I took quinine. And I just kept on going and going. Dances every evening. Long rides in the country every afternoon. Picnics. That country's so lovely. So lovely now. All lacy with dogwood and simply flooded with jonquils. My mother said, you can't bring any more jonquils into the house. We just don't have any more room. And I said, I will. And anytime I saw them, I'd say, look, I see jonquils. And I'd make my gentleman calls, stop the carriage, get out, and get some. You know, it got to be kind of a joke. They'd say, look out, here comes that girl. And we're going to have to spend all afternoon gathering jonquils. My mother said, we can't bring home any more jonquils. We haven't got any more vases to hold. And I said, that's all right. I told her so myself. Malaria fever. What from? John. I hope they get here before it starts to rain. I gave your brother some extra change so that they could take the service car home. He and Mr. O'Connor.
Mother,
What?
what did you say his name was?
Mr. O'Connor?
What's his first name?
I don't remember. Oh, wait, yes, I do. It was Jim.
Oh, Mother, not Jim O'Connor.
Well, yes, it was Jim, and I have never known a Jim who wasn't nice.
Are you sure his name was Jim O'Connor?
Well, sure, I'm sure. Why?
Is he the one that Tom used to know in high school?
Well, I don't think so. I think he just got to know him in the way.
Mother, there was a Jim. Tom and I both knew in high school. If that's the one that's coming to dinner, you're going to have to excuse me. I couldn't come to the table.
What's all this? What is all this silly talk?
You asked me once if I ever liked a boy. Remember, I showed you that boy's picture.
The one in the yearbook?
Yes. What? That one.
Look. Laura, were you in love with that one?
I don't know, Mother. I just know I couldn't sit at the table if it were.
Well, it won't be him. It's not the least bit funny. But even if it is, you'll have to come to the table. You will not be excused.
I will have to be, Mother.
Laura, I do not plan to humor your silliness. I've had enough of it from you and your brother both. Now you just come here and sit down and compose yourself. Come here. Sit down and compose yourself until they come. Now you are gonna you are gonna have to open the door when they come. Tom has forgotten their key. You are gonna have to let them in.
Mother, you answer the door.
Well now, how can I when I have not finished making the mayonnaise dressing for the salmon?
Oh, Mother, please answer the door. Don't make me do it.
I'm going to go in the salmon dressing. Now look, I do not understand why this is such a big deal. It's just one gentleman caller. Just one.
Mother, please, you answer the door.
Just put that down and you go answer the door, sweetheart. Oh,
Please, you answer it, please.
what is all this silliness? Go answer that door.
Please, Mother.
Choose at this moment to lose your mind. Go to that door.
I can't.
Why can't you?
Because I'm sick.
You're sick. Am I sick? You and your brother have me puzzled to death. Why are you afraid to open the door? You go to that door. You march yourself straight to that door.
Yes, Mother.
I've got to put some courage in you, honey, for living.
All right. This is Jim. Jim, this is my sister Laura.
Well, didn't know Shakespeare had a sister. How do you do, Laura?
How do you do?
I'm all right. Hands are cold, Laura.
Yes, Mom, I've been playing with the big troll.
Playing some classical music. Try to play a little hot swing music to warm you up. What's the matter?
Oh, Laura? Laura's terribly shy.
Shy, huh? What's unusual to meet a shy girl that age? I don't recall you ever mentioning you had a sister.
Well, now you know I have one. You want a piece of paper?
Yeah.
Comments?
Comics. Sports. See old Rudy Dean's on his bad behavior?
Really?
Yeah. Where you going?
On the terrace. Smoke.
Something, Shakespeare. I'm going to say you're really good.
What goods?
Course I'm taking.
What course?
Public speaking. You know guys like you and me, we're not the warehouse type.
That's good to know. What's the course of public speaking got to do with it?
Well, it suits you for executive positions.
Ah,
Tell you, done a hell of a lot for me.
in what respects?
In all respects. Ask yourself, what's the difference between you, me, and the guys in the office down front? Brains? No. Ability? Then what? Primarily, it all comes down to one single thing.
What is that one single thing?
Social poise. The ability to square off with someone on any social level and hold your own.
Tom,
Yes, Mother?
is that you, Mr. O'Connor?
Yes, Mother?
Well, make yourselves comfortable.
We will.
Mr. O'Connor, if you'd like to wash his hand.
No thanks, ma'am. Took care of that down at the warehouse. Tom,
Hmm?
Mr. Mendoza's been talking to you.
Favorably?
What do you think?
Well,
You're going to be out of a job if you don't wake up.
I'm waking up.
Yeah? Well, you show no signs.
Signs are interior. I'm just about to make a move. I'm just about to commit myself to a future that doesn't involve the warehouse, or Mr. Mendoza, or a night school course in public speaking.
Yeah, what do you guess about?
I'm tired of the movies.
The movies?
Yes, the movies. Well, look at it. All those glamorous people having adventures, hogging it all, gobbling the whole thing up. You know what happens? People go to the movies instead of moving. All the Hollywood characters are supposed to have all the adventures for everyone in America. Meanwhile, everyone in America sits in a dark room watching them happen. Yes, that is, of course, until there's a war. Then it eventually becomes available to the masses. Everyone's dish, not only Gable's. Then the people in the dark room get up and go out and have some adventures of their own. Goody goody. It's our turn to go to South Sea Island, have a safari, be exotic, far off. But I'm not patient. Don't want to wait till then. I'm tired of movies. I'm ready to move.
Move?
Yes,
When?
soon.
Where?
I'm starting to boil inside. I know I seem dreamy, but really I am starting to boil inside. Every time I pick up a shoe, I shudder a little, thinking how short life is. What am I doing with it? Whatever the hell that means, I just know it doesn't mean shoes. Except is what travelers wear on their feet.
What?
I'm a member.
Union of Merchant Seamen.
I paid my dues this month instead of the electric light.
Yeah. You regret that when they turn your lights off.
I won't be here.
What about your mother?
Well, I'm like my father. Bastard son of a bastard. See how he grins. He's been gone going on 16 years.
Just talking. Trip, what does your mother think about this?
Mother's not acquainted with my plans. Here comes Mother.
Tom,
Yes, Mother.
where are you all?
We're out on the terrace, smoking.
Why don't you come in?
Mother. Looks pretty.
I do believe that that is the first compliment you have ever paid me. I wish that you'd look pleasant when you're going to say something pleasant, so I know to expect it. Mr. O'Connor.
How do you do, man?
Well. So this is Mr. O'Connor. Introductions are entirely unnecessary. I have heard so much about you from my boy. You know, I finally said, my goodness, Tom, why don't you bring this paragon home from the warehouse? Instead of just singing his praises all the time, I'd like to meet this nice young man. I don't know why my boy is so standoffish. It's not the Southern way. Let's sit down. Let's sit down. And I think we're going to use a little more fresh air in here. Tom, leave that for a moment. You know, I thought a nice fresh breeze a little while ago. I wonder where it's going. think that light things are what this time of year calls for. We're just like light clothes. Light clothes and light food are what warm weather calls for. You know, our bodies, our blood just gets so thick in the wintertime that our bodies just don't have time to adjust when the seasons change. And it's come so quickly this year. One, I just wasn't prepared for. Heavens, summer already. I ran to the trunk and I pulled out this light dress. It's terribly old, historical even, but it feels so good. So good and cool.
Mother! How about our supper?
Why, honey, you go ask sister about your supper. You know that sister is in full charge of supper. You tell her that you hungry boys are waiting for her. And Lord,
Oh, well, she came to the door.
oh, she let you in?
Yes, ma'am.
She's very pretty, isn't she?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
It's rare for a girl to be as sweet and pretty as Laura and be domestic, but then heavens, Laura is both domestic and sweet and pretty. You know, I'm not at all. I never was. I never could make a thing but angel food cake. Of course, growing up in the South, where we had so many servants. Gone, gone, gone. All vestige of gracious living just gone completely. I wasn't prepared for what the future brought me. You see, all my gentlemen callers were sons of planters. So naturally, I just assumed I would marry one and would raise my family on a large piece of property, lots of servants. But, well, man proposes, and woman accepts that proposal, and so to vary an old saying, I married no man. I married a man who worked for the telephone company. That gallantly smiling gentleman there. Telephone man who fell in love with long distance. Now he travels and I don't even know where. Oh, but what am I going on about all my tribulations? Do tell me yours. Well, I hope you don't have any. Tom,
Yes, Mother?
what about our supper?
Why? Supper's on the table.
So it is. How lovely. Where's Laura?
Laura's not feeling too well and thinks perhaps maybe she better not come to the table.
Laura?
Yes, Mama?
Mr. Oakham. Laura, we can't sit down and say grace until you come to the table.
I'm so sorry, Mother.
Oh, Laura!
Laura, honey, you are sick. Well, you just rest here on the sofa. Well, and she's been standing over a hot stove all day. Oh, my goodness. I told her it was just too warm this evening. Is she better now?
She's better, Mother.
For goodness sake, sounds like we're going to have some rain this evening. Mr. O'Connor. Tom? You say grace.
What?
Well, what do we generally do before we eat? We say grace, don't we?
For these and all thy mercies, God's holy name be praised.
Why, Mr. O'Connor, I haven't had such a pleasant evening in ages.
Well, Miss Wingfield, let me help you a toast. Here's to the old South.
To the old South. up. Oh, oh my
Hey,
goodness.
Mr. Lightbulb.
Why, my goodness. Where was Moses when the lights went out? And Mr. O'Connor, do you know the answer to that one?
No, ma'am. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, I knew an answer once, but it wasn't very nice. And I thought perhaps you knew another one.
No, ma'am.
It's nice. I put these candles on the table. I had them out just for ornamentation, but it's nice when they prove useful, too. So if one of you gentlemen could provide a match, we can have some illumination.
I can.
Oh, thank you. You know, I suppose it's just a burnt out fuse. Mr. O'Connor, do you know anything about burnt out fuses?
Oh, I know a little about them, ma'am, but where's the fuse box?
Must you know that too? Well, it's in the kitchen. Do be careful. It's dark. Don't stumble over anything. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wouldn't it be awful if we lost him? Mr. O'Connor, are you all right?
Yes, ma'am, I'm all right.
They say that electricity is a very mysterious thing. You know, to me, the whole universe is mysterious. Wasn't it Benjamin Franklin that tied a key to that kite? I should like to have seen that. I think it might have looked mighty funny. Some people say that science clears up all the mysteries, but I think that it just keeps on adding more. Have you found it, Mr. O'Connor?
Yes, sir, I found it all right, but fuse boxes look okay to me.
Tom,
Yes, Mother?
that light bill I gave you a few days ago, the one I got the notice on, you didn't neglect it, did you?
You mean last month's bill?
Yes.
Well,
Oh, you did? I might have known.
Maybe Shakespeare wrote a poem back to life.
Maybe he did. I should have known better than to trust you with it. Oh,
Maybe the poem won a $10 prize.
maybe it will. Anyway, I suppose we'll have to spend the rest of the evening in the 19th century before Mr. Edison discovered that Mazda lamp.
You know what? Candlelight is my favorite kind of light.
That's because you're a romantic, Mr. O'Connor. However, that does not excuse Tom. You know, it was very nice of him, however, to let us finish our supper before they plunged us into everlasting darkness. However, Tom, you are going to have, for your penalty, you're going to have to help me with the dishes in the kitchen.
Can I be of some help, ma'am?
Why, no, I couldn't allow that.
I'll be good for something.
Well, what did I hear you say?
I just said I ought to be good for something.
Well, that's what I thought you said. You know, Laura's all about her lonesome out front. Maybe you'd like to keep her company. I could let you have this lovely old candelabrum for life. You know, it used to sit on the altar of the church of the Heavenly Rest. It got melted a bit out of shape when the church burnt down. The church was struck by lightning one spring, and Gypsy Jones, who was holding a revival in the said the reason the church burned down was because the Episcopalians had started holding card parties right in the church.
Is that so, ma'am?
Well, I never say anything that isn't so.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Oh, you know, I'd like Laura to have just a little bit of dandelion wine. Do you think you could hold a rope?
Well, I can certainly try, ma'am.
There you go. Now, Tom, you get into your apron.
Yes, Mother?
Oh, what?
Oh, thank you.
It's a, little dandelion on it. Drink it, but don't get drunk. Where will I put the candles?
Oh, anywhere?
How about here on the floor? Any objections?
No.
Just put a little newspaper on it, you can't see dirties. I like to say, you mind if
No.
could you throw me a pillow?
What?
A pillow.
Oh.
What about you? Don't you like sitting on the floor?
Yes,
Well, why don't you?
I will.
Take a pillow.
Thank you.
Can't see you sitting way over there.
I can see you.
That's not fair. I'm right here in the limelight. That's better. Now I can see you. Are you comfortable?
Yes. Thank you.
Me too. I'm as comfortable as it can. Say, would you care for a steak too?
Oh, no, thank you.
I do believe I will indulge. Okay. Imagine the fortune made by the man who did the very first steak sugar. Amazing, huh? Did you know that the Wrigley Building was one of the sights of Chicago? I saw it summer before last at the Century of Progress. Did you take it at the Century of Progress?
No.
Oh, this is an amazing exhibition, believe me. You know what my favorite part was?
No.
Hall of Science.
Oh.
It gives you an idea what the future of America will be like. Ah, it's so much more wonderful than the present time is. So your brother tells me you're a shy girl, is that right, Laura?
I don't know.
I judge you to be an old-fashioned type girl. That's a wonderful type to be. I hope you don't think I'm being too personal, do you?
Mr. O'Connor,
Hmm.
I believe I will take a piece of that gum, if you don't mind. Mr. O'Connor,
Mhm.
have you, kept up with your singing?
Sing. Me.
Yes. I remember what a beautiful voice you had.
You've heard me sing.
Oh, yes, very often. I don't suppose you remember me at all.
No. As a matter of fact, I did have an idea I'd seen you somewhere before. It was almost as if I was about to remember your name, but no. The name that I was about to remember, it wasn't a name at all, so I stopped myself before I said it.
Wasn't it Blue Roses?
Blue Roses. Oh my God, yes, Blue Roses. Oh gosh. I never connected you with high school somehow, but that's where it was, wasn't it? High school. Gosh, I didn't know you were Shakespeare's sister. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I didn't expect you to. You barely knew me.
But we did have a speaking acquaintance.
Yes, we spoke to each other.
Say, did we have a class or something together?
We did, yes.
What was
It
it?
was singing the chorus. I sat across the aisle from you Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and auditorium.
I remember. You're the one who always came in late.
Oh, well, I had such trouble getting upstairs, you know. I had that brace on my leg back then, and
What it made such a loud clumping sound.
I never heard any clumping.
Oh, to me it sounded like thunder.
I never even noticed.
Walked in after everybody else was seated, you know. Had to walk in front of everyone. My seat was all the way in the back, so I had to go clumping up the aisle with everybody
You
watching.
should have been so self-conscious.
I know. It was. It was such a relief when the singing started.
And I used to call you Blue Roses. How in the world did Erica start calling you a name like that?
Well, I was out sick for a little bit with fluorosis. And when I came back, you asked me what was the matter. And I said I had fluorosis. But you thought I said,
Blue Roses!
so that's when you started calling me after that.
Oh gosh, I hope you didn't mind.
Oh, I loved it. I wasn't acquainted with new people.
Yeah, I remember you sort of expecting yourself.
I had much luck making friends.
I don't see why you wouldn't.
Sort of started off badly.
I mean, being,
Yeah, sort of always sort of gotten away.
you shouldn't have let it.
I know I did, but I did, and
Shy of people.
I tried not to be, but I never,
Overcome
no, I never could.
it. Yeah. Yeah, I guess being shy is something that you kind of work out kind of gradually.
Yes. Well, I guess it just,
Takes time.
yes.
You know something, Laura? It's so dreadful when you get to know them. That's something you got to remember. And everybody has problems. Not just you, but practically everybody has problems. And you think of yourself as being the only person who's disappointed, but let's look around you. What do you see? A world filled with people just as disappointed as you are. Take me, for instance. My goodness. I got out of high school. I just knew I was going to be so much further along by now than I am. Do you remember that wonderful ride I had in George?
Oh, yes, I do.
Said that I was bound to succeed in anything that I got myself into. Oh, she's the torch!
Well, here you are. Here you are with the Pirates of Penzance.
Pirates. Oh, bad to fall to live or die under the reef like firefly. That's like leading it, operetta.
Yes, beautifully.
Oh.
Yes, beautifully, beautifully.
You heard me then.
Well, I heard you all 3 times.
No.
Yes.
You mean all 3 performances?
Yes.
What for?
I wanted to see if you would autograph my program.
Well, why didn't you just ask?
Well, you always surrounded by your friends. I just never had a chance.
No, you should just walk right up to him and
I was
say,
afraid you would think that I was.
You were what? Yeah. Yeah. I was beleaguered by the ladies in those days.
You were terribly popular.
Yeah.
In such a friendly way.
Oh, I was spoiled in high school.
Well, everybody liked you. Yes, I did too.
You knew that program well. You are. Better late than never.
I was surprised.
Well, my signature's not worth much now, but in the future it'll increase in value. Being disappointed is one thing, but being discouraged is something else. Now, I may be disappointed, but I'm not discouraged. So you finished high school?
I made bad grades in my final exams.
You dropped out?
I never went back. Say, how is Emily Meisenbach getting along?
That old crowdhead.
What do you call her that?
That's what she was.
You mean you're not going with her?
I never even see her.
It said in the newspaper you were engaged.
Yeah. I wasn't impressed by that propaganda.
You mean it's not the truth?
It was only true in Emily's optimistic opinion. So, what have you been doing since high school? I said, what have you been doing since high school?
Oh, nothing much.
Well, you had to be doing something all the time.
Well, I took a business course at the business college.
Yeah. How'd that go?
Well, not very well. I had to drop out. It gave me indigestion.
What have you been doing since then?
But not very much. Well, I don't want you to think I sit around here doing nothing. I mean, I do have a glass collection that I take care of. You know, glass takes a good deal of time.
What did you say? About glass?
Collection. I said I have one.
You know that just be trouble with you. Inferiority complex. Do you know what that is? Well, it's when a fellow lowers himself. Understand it because I had it too. Only, my case didn't seem to be as severe as yours. Well, I had it until I took up a course of public speaking and developed my voice and learned that I have an aptitude for science. Do you know that until that time, I never thought of myself as being outstanding in any way whatsoever?
Oh my!
I never made a regular study of it, mind you, but I do have a friend who says that I can analyze a person better than the doctors who make a profession of it. I don't think that's necessarily true, but I can judge a person's psychology. Sorry, Lord. Always take it out whenever the flavor's gone. I'll just put it in a piece of paper here. Just like when you get it stuck in your shoe. Yep, that's what I judge to be your primary problem. A lack of confidence in yourself as a person. Now, I'm basing that on a number of observations and statements you made. For instance, that clumping you thought was so awful in high school. You say you dreaded going upstairs. What do you see what you did? You dropped out of high school. You gave up an education all because of a little clumping, which, as far as I can tell, was non-existent. Oh, a little physical defect is all you had. Hardly noticeable. Magnified 1,000 times by your imagination. Lord, do you know what my one story of honesty would be? You gotta imagine yourself as being superior in some way.
Oh, man, what way would I imagine?
What, Laura? Look around you. What do you see? A world filled with common people. All of them born. All of them born to die. Now, which one of them has 1/10 of your attributes? Or mine? Or anybody else's for that matter? You see, we all excel in some one way. So many. You take me, for instance, my interest happens to lie in electrodynamics. Well, I'm taking a course in radio technology on top of a very responsible job at the warehouse. Now, I'm taking that course and studying public speaking because I believe in the future of television. I want to be ready to go right up with it. I plan to get in on the ground floor. I've already made all the right connections. All this left now is for the industry itself to get underway full steam. Knowledge, zip. Power, zip. Money, bam! That's the cycle of democracy. think I make too much of myself.
No, I don't.
What about you? Isn't there some one thing that you take interest in more than anything else?
Yes.
Such as what?
Well, I do, as I've said, have my glass collection.
You do.
Mm.
So what kind of glasses?
Well, articles of it, little ornaments mostly, little animals, made out of glass, the tiniest little animals in all the world. Mother calls them the glass menagerie. Well, here's an example of one, if you'd like to see it. It is one of the oldest. It's nearly 13. Now be careful. If you breathe, he breaks.
No, I shouldn't think about it. I'm very
No.
comfortable with these things.
I trust you with him. And now just hold him gently. Hold him gently. Now hold him up to the light. He loves the light. See how the light shines right through him?
Sure does shine.
I shouldn't be partial, but he's my favorite one.
So what thing is this supposed to be?
Haven't you noticed the tiny little hole in his forehead?
Unicorn.
Uh-huh.
Unicorns. Hey, aren't they extinct in the modern world?
No.
The little fellow must feel kind of lonesome.
Well, if he does, he doesn't say a thing about it. He just sits right there on the shelf with the other horses that don't have horns, and they get along just fine.
They do. So roll up a
Well, let's put them on the table there, Dad. They all like to change the scenery once in a while.
They do? Oh, hey! Look how big my shadow is when I stretch.
Yeah, just stretch right across the ceiling there.
Stop raining. Hey, where's that music coming from?
Oh, that's from the Paradise Dance Hall. It's just across the alley there.
Well, what do you say we cut a little rug, Miss Wingfield, or is your program all filled up? Let's take a look and see. What do you know? All the dances are taken. Well, I'll just scratch a few of these off. Hey, a waltz.
I can't dance.
Well, you gonna let inferiority again?
I've never danced before in my life.
What do you say we try?
I would certainly step on you.
I'm not made out of glass.
Well, how do we even start?
Put your hands up.
Like this?
A little higher. Now, slip it up. Now, sprint between your eyes.
It's hard not to.
Okay.
Oh, I'm afraid you can't budge me.
Again.
Oh, oh yes, you can.
Now, just let yourself go, or just let yourself go.
I'm trying.
Okay, just relax a little. All right, here we go.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Oh. It doesn't matter.
Go for the little glass horse.
Yes.
Is he broken?
Now he's just like all the other horses.
You mean he lost his...
He loves his home. It doesn't matter. You know, maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
But you'll never forgive me. I bet he was your favorite piece.
I'm my favorite. Much. You know, it's no tragedy. Glass, it breaks so easily, no matter how careful you are. It's the traffic, it jars the shelves, and things just, they fall right off.
Still, I'm awfully sorry that I was the cause of it.
You know, I'll just pretend he had an operation. The horn was removed to make him, you know, seem less freakish. Now he'll be more at home with
The losses, the ones that don't have that loss.
I'm glad to see you have a sense of humor. You know something, Laura? You're different than anybody else that I know. You mind me telling you that? It's true. You make me feel sort of, I don't know how to say it. I'm pretty good at expressing myself, but this is something I want to say. Has anybody ever told you you're pretty? Well, you are, and in a different sort of way. In all the nicer because of the difference. Oh, gosh. I wish you were my sister. I would teach you to have confidence in yourself. You know, being different is not something to be ashamed of. Because other people, they're not such wonderful people. You know, there are 100 times 1,000. You're 1 times 1. They roam all over the earth, and you stay right here. They're as common as weeds. Roses.
Look, blue is wrong for roses.
No, it's right for you. You're pretty.
In what way am I pretty?
Every way. Your hair, your eyes, your hands are pretty. Are you going to just say this? Because I was invited to dinner and I had to be nice? I can do that. I can say a lot of things without being sincere, but I'm talking to you sincerely. You know, I happen to notice that you have this inferiority complex that prevents you from being comfortable around people. Somebody had to build you up, Laura. Way up. Make you proud instead of turning away blushing. Somebody ought to kiss you. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. That was way off base. Would you give her a cigarette? No. You don't smoke, do you? How about peppermint? You know, my pocket's a regular drugstore. I would do the same thing as do it. I would invite fellas over to meet you. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's not the idea of bringing me here. But what if it was? There's nothing wrong with that. In my case, I'm in no position to. I can't ask for your number instead of a phone. I can't call it next weekend and ask you out on a date. Thought I'd better explain it to you in case you misunderstood and I hurt your feelings.
You mean you won't call again?
I can't. Laura, I'm going steady. I go out all the time with a girl named Betty. Oh, she's a nice, quiet girl, like you, and Catholic, and Irish, and well, in many ways we get along just fine. I met her last summer on a moonlight boat trip up to Alton on the Majestic. Well, right away it was love. Oh my God. Being in love has made a new man out of me. You know, love is tremendous. Love is something that changes your whole world. It just so happened that Betty's aunt got sick and she got a wire and had to go up to Centralia. So naturally, when Tom invited me to dinner, well, naturally I accepted, not knowing that
A souvenir.
I'm coming, children. I thought y'all might like some liquid refreshment. Mr. O'Connor, have you ever heard that song about lemonade? It goes, lemonade, lemonade, made in the shade and stirred with a spade, and it's good enough for any old maid.
No, I never heard that.
Why not? Why are you so serious?
We were having a serious conversation.
Well, I would just never understand modern young people. Well, when I was a young girl, I was gay about everything.
You never changed a bit this week,
Well, I suppose it's the gaiety of the occasion that's rejuvenated me. Well, here's to the gaiety of the occasion. Oh, my goodness. I have baptized myself. Oh. You know, I found some cherries out in the kitchen, and I put one in each glass.
Don't throw all that trouble, man.
Well, it was no trouble at all. Didn't you hear Tom and me out there just cutting up? I was very put out with him for not having brought you by sooner. But now that you found your way, well, I want you to come by all the time. Not just every now and then, but all the time. I think I better go right back out to that kitchen.
No, ma'am, please don't. As a matter of fact, I need to be going.
Well, Mr. O'Connor, it's just the shank of the evening.
Yes, ma'am, but you know how it is.
Oh, yes, you're a young working man, and you have to keep working man's hours.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, all right. We'll let you go early this time, but only if you promise to stay much later next time. Much later. What's a good night for you? Saturday?
Well, my sweet Field, as a matter of fact, I have 2 time clocks to punch. One in the morning and one at night.
Well, isn't that nice? You're so ambitious you work at night, too.
No, ma'am. Not work. Betty.
Betty? Who's Betty?
It's just a girl. A girl that I go stay with.
Oh, you mean it's serious?
Yes, ma'am. We're to be married the first Sunday in June.
Tom didn't say anything about you being engaged to be married.
The cat's not out of the bag at the warehouse yet, ma'am. I mean, you know how it is. They call you Romeo and things like that. It's been a wonderful evening, Sweetfield. I guess this is what they meant by Southern hospitality.
Oh, it was nothing. Nothing at all.
I hope you don't think I'm letting off, but I promised Betty that I'd meet her at the Wabash Depot, and by the time I get my jalopy down there, her train will be in. And you know how someone can get whenever you keep them waiting.
Oh, I know all about the tyranny of women. But, Mr. O'Connor, I wish you happiness and good fortune. You wish him that too, don't you, Laura?
Yes, I do, Mother.
Laura. Yeah, I'll always treasure that souvenir. And don't you forget that good advice I gave you, huh? So long, Shakespeare! Thanks again, ladies. Good night.
Well. Some things have a way of turning out so very bad. Oh, Lord, don't play that Victrola. Well. So our gentleman caller turned out to be engaged to be married. Tom,
Yes, Mother?
come out here, please. I'd like to tell you something very funny.
Gentlemen caller, get away already?
caller has made an early departure. That was a very funny joke he played on us, too.
How do you mean?
Well, you didn't mention that he was engaged to be married.
Jim. Engaged.
Well, that's what he just informed us.
Bobby Chicken, I didn't know.
Well, I find that very peculiar.
What's peculiar about it?
Well, didn't you tell me that he was your best friend?
I did, but how would I know?
Well, I find it very peculiar that your best friend at the warehouse didn't tell you that he was engaged to be married.
The warehouse is the place where I work, not where I know things about people.
You don't know things anywhere. You live in a dream. You manufacture illusions. Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going?
I'm going to the movies!
Oh, right. Now that you have us make complete fools out of ourselves. Only ever. The preparations and all the expense. The floor lamp, the rug, clothes for Laura. And all for what? To entertain some other girl's fiancé. Oh, go. Go to the movies. No, don't think about us. A mother, deserted, an unmarried sister who's crippled and doesn't even have a job. Don't let anything interfere with your own selfish pleasure. Just go. 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 Go.
All right! I will go! And the more you shout at me about my selfish pleasures, the quicker I'll go! And I won't go to the movies either!
All right, then. Then go. And go to the moon, you selfish dreamer.
I didn't go to the moon. Oh, I went much further. But time is the longest distance between two places. I left St. Louis. I descended the steps of the fire escape for the last time and followed from then on in my father's footsteps, trying to find in motion what was lost in space. I traveled around a great deal. Cities swept by me like dead leaves. Leaves that were brightly colored but torn from their branches. I would have stopped, but I was pursued by something. It always took me unawares, caught me altogether by surprise. Perhaps it was a bit of familiar music. Perhaps it's a piece of tiny transparent glass. Perhaps I'm walking along the street at night, a strange city before I found companions, and I passed the lighted window of a shop where perfume is sold. The windows filled with tiny pieces of glass. Tiny, transparent bottles, delicate colors, like bits of a shattered rainbow. Then all at once my sister touched my shoulder. And I turned and I looked her in the eyes. Oh, Laura, I tried to leave you behind me, but I am more faithful than I intended to be. I reached for a cigarette. Across the street. Duck into a bar or a movie. Buy a drink. Talk to the nearest stranger. Anything that can blow your candles out, Laura. Nowadays, all the world is lit by lightning. Blow your candles out, Laura. So did I.
Sam, how's it, man?